Hey, everybody, welcome to this week's edition of Coast to Coast, episode 2, where we're going to go ahead and take a little trip and visit Nashville, Tennessee. So I have the pleasure of speaking with Jack Beard, who is a realtor in the Nashville area, who's going to be able to tell us everything that we're going to want to know about Nashville and then some. Hey, Jack, how are you doing today?
Hey man, doing well. I guess I should say howdy.
Howdy. So tell us a little bit about yourself. What makes you special?
Wow. Yeah, what makes me special? I just love helping people, man. And I got into this business just because I was doing the corporate 9 to 5, get out of high school and out of college. And man, it wasn't super fulfilling to me. So I wanted to be able to get into a job where you kind of pay to play, kill what you eat, as some people say in this market, in this business. So it was super exciting to me. So getting started here has been really fun. The Nashville area is, it's to die for right now. Well, I'm sure we'll get into that in a little bit. But man, it's just been fun to be able to get to know a vertical that I think is thriving right now. And really not only testing the limits of the market here, but testing the limits for me and being able to learn and grow and be able to be a better professional because of it.
Yeah, which Jack, I had the pleasure of actually meeting before he was a realtor. He was in my business fraternity that I helped volunteer for, and he was the president of their chapter at the University of Tennessee. So what made you decide to move from Knoxville to Nashville?
Man, I'm born and raised in Nashville. So as soon as I finished college in Knoxville, I asked myself deep down, I said, hey, Jack, is there anywhere that you would want to go other than home right now? And I thought about moving out west to the Southern California area. I thought about moving to the Northeast to be able to be up in like the Boston area. Even thought about going to Florida as well. But I just said, you know what? There's not a better place right now than Nashville. I want to try my luck in a place that I know, hoping that that'll give me kind of a leg up, an edge. And so I just love it here. We get 4 seasons, nice people, great place to be able to come out and do stuff. And it's a great hot market for real estate right now. So it's kind of a win-win-win-win for me. Get to be in a place I'm familiar with.
Yeah, in Florida, we don't have 4 seasons. We have 2, summer and hurricane.
Yeah, that's right.
So tell me, since you love Nashville, born and raised in the area, what are some of your favorite things to do in the Nashville area?
I think the biggest thing that I love about Nashville is the people and the environment. I think that there's certain stigmas when you go certain places in the country. And what I love about Nashville is that it just feels like home no matter who you talk to. So you kind of get to know who a real Nashvilleian is just off of kind of the conversations that you have with them in the city. But that's just really what I love is the people that are here and people are willing to help out and just be good, solid people, which I think we need in this day and age. And that's why I love being here and why I feel like I'll stay here for the foreseeable future.
Awesome. So what are some of your favorite things, like your outdoor activities or indoor activities in the area?
Obviously, music is a big deal here. So I spoke on one of your shows a couple years ago, and I was talking about how I actually kind of my first couple real jobs out of high school and college, honestly, was interning for radio stations in Nashville. So I got to work for Bobby Bones, who's a big star right now. I got to work for Acme Radio Live. So music is something that's really been super ingrained in me, and that's what I really love seeing. So CMA Fest here in the summer, when all of the big names will come out and play, and they'll play free shows too. So, and if you guys are here in July, CMA Fest will be happening for the first time since COVID this year. So that's a really big one. So music is huge. And then just the outdoors, man, you get so much variety here in the state, especially in all the different seasons that I love going out on the lake. I love kind of exploring the outdoors and some of the hikes that we have around here and the parks as well. Centennial Park is a really, really good one if you want to see a one-of-one replica of the Parthenon. So I think it's just the entertainment capital of the world over here, and I've been loving it.
Awesome. And then sports team wise, I know you have the Tennessee Titans in the area.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have a hockey team. Forget their name because I don't watch
Nashville Predators, baby.
Nashville Predators. What other type of sports teams are out there? Is there any others that I'm missing?
Yeah, so the Titans went on a big run this past year, looking to make it a bigger run next year. The Predators are currently doing really well as well for hockey. This city really loves and embraces hockey, which is one of my favorite sports to
Mm.
watch. So I've been to a few games this year. We also have a soccer team as well, Nashville SC. They just built, I think it's one of like the top 5 domestic stadiums for soccer in the country. So we actually have a dedicated soccer stadium, which not too many cities can brag about. What else do we have here too? We have, I think that's pretty much like the big 3
Big
that I'm thinking of
sports.
right now. And then of course over in Memphis, we have the Memphis Grizzlies, but they're over in Memphis. So those
A
would be
little
the
bit of
big
a
ones.
drive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Um, Now let's talk about a little bit of the real estate market in the area. What
Mm.
are your home values like? How fast are your prices going? Your homes going? What is your market? Is it as crazy and out of control like Florida?
Yeah, so there's a statistic that I like to look at here in the Nashville area: months of inventory. So in a balanced market, when there's an equal number of buyers and sellers, I usually like to see 6 months of inventory on the market. What we're seeing right now when I'm doing my buyer consults with my clients is, depending on the area, but it's pretty similar throughout the city as a whole, we're seeing roughly zero 0.1, zero 0.2, zero 0.3 months of inventory, which means if no other homes hit the market today, it would take roughly less than a week for those homes to sell out. So that statistic, mixed with median days on the market being 3 to 4, really makes it a competitive environment here in Nashville. Doesn't mean you can't find anything. We just really have to find really smart agents who know what they're doing and can get you in homes that we believe you can win.
And what's your median sales price?
It's been shooting up. We're seeing that
Mhm.
prices are increasing roughly $1,500 a week. So that's why it's really important to find an agent who can get you in a home as quick as possible. Because if you decide to wait, those prices you're going to get priced out of the market, if depending on what kind of budget you have. So, but on average, right now, I think the last statistic I saw was like roughly 425 average here in Nashville. So it's getting up there, but don't quote me on those numbers. That's just the last thing I remember seeing.
Well, in this market, whatever you quoted on those numbers have probably changed in the last hour.
Yeah, and another big conversation I'm really having to have with my clients is, they're having trouble trying to offer above list price, and I'm trying to educate them, saying, hey, listen, the list price isn't necessarily market value. Market value is whatever somebody's willing to pay for a home. So that's a tough conversation that we're having to have right now, and offering over with a decent sized appraisal gap has really been the best strategy here in Nashville.
Yeah, no, that's a strategy we definitely lose in Orlando. In Orlando, it's interesting here. And so if your median's about 4.25-ish time range, down here we're about 360-ish. And I just looked at the numbers this morning, and our days on market is about 7, 8, 9 days, depending on the county.
Mhm.
Um, it's completely insane the way it is going. And it's even the more crazy one. I don't know if you looked in this statistic, but I'm pretty sure it's the same across the board. We have less homes to sell, it feels like, but we're actually selling more homes year over year.
Mhm.
So the homes are still selling, so it's not like we have an inventory issue. They're just not lasting. And and I don't know if you ever use this with any of your customers. I always tell them, like, yeah, compare the real estate market to toilet paper in 2020. Uh, it's the exact same thing. Like, if we don't produce any more homes out there to list, we're not going to have anything to sell, and it's going to be like the toilet paper crisis back then.
I'm also foreseeing, I think the market's self-correcting a little bit here in Nashville, but another thing that we're seeing is that supply is obviously upticking just because we're getting into the warmer months. So hopefully when we get into the heat of the summer, we'll have a decent amount of supply, and we'll be able to offer some better strategies, more competitive strategies for perhaps some clients who might have some constraints in some areas. So definitely looking forward to the warm season.
So touching on that, then, do you guys have more seasons like during your snowier months? Do you have a lot less inventory than you would during the summer months then?
It's typically that way. Like I said, we have all 4 seasons here in Nashville. So when you get into the winter months, when you get into the holidays, if you guys have ever been involved in the real estate market, towards the holidays, people are just not really wanting to sell, while they're having all their family gatherings and traveling all over. It's really usually not a really very very hot time to sell, I guess I would just say. So that mixed with some of the colder temperatures just kind of limits supply a little bit. But I really do think that when we get into the spring and the summer months, we do see supply start to ramp back up, and that's normally when a lot of offers start hitting the market and getting accepted at a more fair price. But as of right now, with everybody moving to Nashville, I think the statistic is roughly 100 people a day. There's just no supply for a lot of these people who are willing to buy, and especially when you're going with people are coming from out of state, they're finding comparable homes to what they had out of state, but their out of state homes are selling for 3-4 times what that same home would sell for here. So we're seeing a lot of cash offers happen here in Nashville as well, which is pricing some people who are using financing out of the market right now. So finding those strategies to win is definitely what I think makes a good realtor and makes a really solid offer.
Nice. Now, in the Nashville area, 'cause I see this getting a little hot in Florida, so I'm curious if it's the same up there. Are you finding a lot of investors wanting to invest in Airbnbs or short-term rentals?
It's a fantastic question, Tim. So actually, the city of Nashville just made it a little bit more difficult to be able to get a rental property here in Davidson County, which is Nashville Metro for anybody who's
Okay.
listening all across the country. So you now have to get permitting in order to do it. And anything that is not zoned, anything that's zoned residential, you cannot buy and then turn into an Airbnb. So the property has to be zoned commercial for that to work out. So you're having to get some stringent permitting from the city in order to do that, but it's just to protect some of these families that are moving into Davidson County and not getting 5 or 6 Airbnb parties shuffling in and out of your next door neighbor's house. But that's been a big complaint recently in the city because it's a very attractive destination for a lot of people who want to just come listen to music. We're a big city for bachelorette parties as well, so the Airbnb scene is alive and well. You just have to look outside of Davidson County if that's something that you're interested in.
Okay, that's good to know. That's definitely good to know, and I'm glad you brought it up. Yeah, you guys are the bachelorette capital of the world, aren't you?
At the moment, yeah, at the moment we are.
Yeah, I remember I went to Nashville and I was in Music Row area, and I think I saw like 7 different bachelorette parties in like a couple hours.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, they're actually they're two. We have the what's called party buses, where it's basically school buses with the sides cut out and kind of open air so you can see the city. And the city's actually cracked down on those as well, and now making those buses kind of enclosed so that nobody can like fall out, just because they've been such a phenomenon. When you're driving downtown, you hit traffic, and not just like 5 p.m. traffic, you're hitting party bus traffic. So it's you have to learn the city a little bit to be able to navigate it well.
Yeah, and one thing I don't think many people know, I know I didn't until I visited, but the Nashville area is kind of hilly.
Definitely a little bit more rolling hills. So actually our state flag, we've got 3 stars on our state flag, and they represent the highlands, the midlands, and the lowlands of the state, going from Knoxville to Nashville to Memphis. And so you do get kind of these rolling hills as you get into the Nashville area. Memphis is very flat, and then Knoxville is obviously up there in the Smoky Mountains. So it gets progressively, the altitude gets progressively higher as you go across the strait from west to east.
Wow, that's great information. I did not know that, but it makes sense because I've been to all 3 of those cities. And I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't struggle walking up hills in Memphis, that's for sure.
That's right.
Uh,
That's right.
So before we end, is there anything else that you want to share with someone that's not familiar with the Nashville area?
I think the Nashville area is just an incredible place to be. And obviously it shows from the amount of people who are moving here every single day. So I would just encourage you guys, if you guys have thought that maybe Nashville is just some redneck southern city, it's definitely not. It's a very great place to be with tons of things to do. And I find that the people are really what make the town. So that's just what I would say. I've obviously loved the place enough throughout my life in order to stay here for generations to come. And I'm just looking forward to, if any of you guys need any advice for the Nashville real estate market, to reaching out to me.
Yeah, well, definitely thank you for your time today, Jack. We appreciate you. Anyone that's looking to connect with someone in the Nashville market, let me know. I connect with Jack. He's a great young realtor, ready to do the work, very knowledgeable, as you can tell, about Nashville, and we'll get you into the right place, whether it's an investment or your secondary home or your personal residence. We'll get you all taken care of. So thank you again, Jack.
Of course, Tim. We'll see you.
All right, bye.